Chicago, where the fire serve cold, with the Wolves and the Hawks never shiver in the snow. The Bulls keep it running, the Sox run the south, the Cubs run the north, but the Bears run the house. True Chicago sports fans got their ears to the street. Any team make a move and they never skip a beat. And in this house, this is where we be. Welcome to the show with E-Roc and Big-Z.
Welcome to Chicago. Coming from the True Chicago Sports Fan Cave, this is a TCSF podcast with your host, E-Roc and Big-Z.
Yeah.
Episode 45 is brought to you by 606 Media, True Chicago Sports Fans, ACSI, and Grit Clothing Company. Don't forget to go to gritclothingco.com and get your official TCSF podcast t-shirt. Search for the keyword True Chicago and use our promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off your entire order. That is TrueFan15 for 15% off your order. Get your official TCSF shirts now.
Go get them.
As always, I'm Big Z, and you're not. And I'm here with my boy E-Roc. What up, E?
What's good, Z? What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in. If you're a first-timer or a long-timer, please remember to hit that subscribe button, that notify button, and go ahead and give us a review. 5 stars, please, on your listening app of choice. And don't forget, you can support the show with a monthly subscription. Check out anchor.fm/True Chicago Sports Fans /support. $1, $5, $10, whatever you want. If you like this show, y'all got to put in. Let's go.
That's right. Help us out.
Z, let me tell you a little bit about our friends over at ACSI. With over 50 expert technicians in the Chicagoland area, ACSI offers a one-stop shop for telecom wiring, whether residential cable installation, fiber to the home, or commercial structured cable wiring. Z, let me tell you the most impressive thing about ACSI. During these hard times, the ACSI crew did their thing during the COVID-19 pandemic, and ACSI was awarded HACIA's 2020 Contractor of the Year. The best part is that ACSI is growing bigger and better than ever. ACSI is now hiring for field sales, technicians, and project managers. Check out acsi.tech. That's acsi.tech, and click on careers to apply today.
Go get yourself a job.
Go get a job. What y'all doing?
That's right.
This week, for your listening pleasure, we are going to bring back our very first interview ever. From episode 1, we're going to play our original interview with Nicholi Wozniak. And next week, we're going to follow up with him regarding what he's been up to for the last year. And we talk about his impact on our show. And it got a little emotional there at some point.
Maybe. I mean, if it makes the cutting floor, I don't know. I don't know if we can let that out, the cat. The cat out of the bag.
Z, what's going on, man? Your birthday was a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Tell us how your week went, man.
My boy Gigantor and and Alex and Chewy, and then we got some regulars at the bar that showed us some love. The crew too. Yeah, they took me out. I'm not gonna say where they took me out because. But I had a lot of love, a lot of Facebook love, a lot of Instagram love, a lot of Snapchat love. You take care of me, dude. It's phenomenal. I mean, turned 40. You were there a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So I feel great. I actually woke up the next morning, no hungover.
There you go.
Yeah, because I took care of myself. I paced myself. I'm not a rookie.
Uh-huh.
And I played a softball game, first time in 2 years since my hips been redone, and I hit 2 triples and. Called it a day. I went home and rested the rest of the day.
That's what's up, man. It's being the age that we are, we're the young old men, right?
Yes.
We're at the age where old people are like, you're a baby, and
right.
young people are like, you're old, and I'm like, sometimes I feel like a nut, sometimes I don't. You know what I mean? So it just depends on how my body feels and what mood I'm in. But I'll tell you what. My wife's birthday was yesterday as well on the 15th. Right. And to make sure that she's listening.
Yeah. Giving her a shout out.
Giving you a shout out at the beginning of the show because make sure we say it at the beginning and the end. But I just want to say it was a great time. Unfortunately, we weren't able to go out and have dinner like we were supposed to. But we made the most of it. Once the baby finally went to sleep because she's a handful. This is like Tasmanian devil in my house.
So you gave her some Jack?
A little bit of cocktail. But yeah, I mean, we had a great time, and I just wanted to make sure that I could make the most of it for her.
Yeah.
She's been stuck inside like a lot of people.
Yeah, well,
and,
she works from home, right? Yeah.
You know, and trying to raise up the babies and also work at the same time. It's a difficult thing. And the pandemic is kind of what brought us all full circle with this thing anyway.
Yeah, it's all full circle. This whole episode's full circle. That's the name of the episode, Full Circle.
But check it out, man. I had a great idea over the weekend.
Another one?
You know, I like to
I mean, they're not all great.
They're not all great, but every once in a while we got a hit, and I came up with something really cool.
All right.
And this is the very first time we're going to debut this segment. This is going to be called The Big Three with Big-Z.
I like the way this sounds, man. I really like this.
and I learned how to rhyme, listen on my hippity hop over the years. But check it out. This is going to be 3 national stories that we think deserve the spotlight.
All right, let's start off right. The CDC says that fully vaccinated people can stop wearing masks.
Whoa.
Will you stop wearing a mask in public?
No. This is what it said. It says fully vaccinated people no longer need to wear masks inside or outside. I think
unless you're in a public place, public transportation, in a public venue.
That's the outside. A public place is not necessarily outside. It's just a place. I think they're talking about like places that are open but not open to the public. You know what I mean? So like, or I mean, open to the public. So I'm like stores and like, but outdoors and in like restaurants and stuff like that, you still got to wear it. But like in the park, you know, I've been coaching softball outside. We haven't been wearing them really anyway. So
I mean, I get it. But I would say this is a little premature. I would say wait till more than 2/3 of the country is vaccinated before we start lifting restrictions. But you know, Texas and Florida are just doing their own thing.
At this point, it's up to the individual because I'm vaccinated. I got both my shots. My wife does. A lot of people I work with do. In my industry, we do trade shows, things like that. So it is important because we just want to make sure that it's done so we don't have to worry about it later down the line. Someone saying, hey, you can't do it because you didn't get your shots. I mean, I think there's a lot of people like yourself that might be waiting until, hey, I have time coming off. I'm going to do it. I wasn't in a rush. But at this point, it's readily available. It's up to you as an individual to go ahead and get that taken care of.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are skeptical, so they're watching. They're like, hey, you be the guinea pig. Well, I'm fine. So now now you can go. You know what I mean? So
Thank you, sir.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I literally drove down on the way here to past the United Center, and there was like emptiness.
Right.
So get your shot. I'm getting mine soon.
And it's weird because it felt like when it was first announced, people were geeked about it, and you said these lines and lines and lines, and I can't get my. Okay, well, where did all them people go? You can't tell me that they're all done.
No.
What's going on?
I have no idea. All right, story number 2. Kyrie Irving, your boy, Kyrie Irving. He's your boy. Says that basketball isn't important to him.
So here's the thing: is that Kyrie joined the Nets. We had to wait a whole year to see what he was going to do playing with Durant, but they're playing out of their mind right now. And the Nets are getting ready to begin their postseason pursuit of a title. But Kyrie Irving said he's currently focused on other issues aside from basketball. He was talking after they beat the Bulls the other day, 105-91. He declined to answer game-related questions, and he made multiple references to the ongoing violence between Israel and Palestine. And this is what he had to say. I'm not going to lie to you guys. A lot of stuff is going on in this world, and basketball is just not the most important thing to me right now. There's a lot of things going on overseas. All our people are still in bondage across the world, and there's a lot of dehumanization going on. So I apologize if I'm not going to be focused on y'all's questions. It's too much going on in the world for me just to be talking about basketball. I focus on this most of the time, 24/7, but it's just too much going on in this world not to address. It's just sad to see this mess going on. It's not just in Palestine, not just in Israel. It's all over the world, and I feel it. I'm very compassionate to it, to all races, all cultures, and to see a lot of people being discriminated against based on religion, color of their skin, what they believe in. It's just sad.
It really is sad. I mean, just don't microscope this thing. You just take an outside view. Go outside in space and look at it as a planet. Those lines that define this and that are imaginary.
Yeah.
So guess what? We're all human.
Right.
There's humans, there's animals, there's insects. Learn how to live with each other.
Right.
As simple as that.
And as much as we kind of take our jabs at Kyrie for some of the weird stuff he's saying about being a flat earther and just kind of like off the mark. I respect the fact that he's bringing
attention to saying there's bigger things in the world besides basketball.
Correct. And not just himself, but I mean, you know how easy it is for him to sit back on a team full of superstars and just coast?
Yeah.
And the thing is that you look at, he is a star. He's an all-star. He's very well known. He's famous. But he's not the biggest star in the NBA, so he has the actual luxury to talk about these things. Michael Jordan, LeBron James could never come out on this because you have to be as neutral as possible when you've achieved that level of fame.
You kind of isolate yourself.
Right, and you have that many people looking up to you as a role model, so that's where that comes into play.
That's right. All right, story number 3, MLB prospect with one eye hits a home run a year after a suicide attempt.
Wow.
The Giants minor leaguer Drew Robinson hits his first home run for the San Francisco Giants AAA affiliate Sacramento River Cats. Wow.
So yeah, I mean, the 29-year-old outfielder, he lost his right eye in a suicide attempt last year. He hit his first home run of the season last week. As two people who both lost close friends to suicide, this story is extremely inspiring, and we couldn't be more thrilled to see a young man get his life back on track. Yeah. Right, absolutely. See a young man get his life back on track after everything that he's been through. But listen, please, if you or someone you know is suicidal and needs someone to talk to, call the Suicide Prevention Hotline, 800-273-8255. Please.
Please.
Take care of yourself. Take care of your people.
Reach out to somebody, please.
So here's the thing. I know I'm breaking the rules. This is our first time doing this segment, the Big 3 with Big Z, and it's supposed to be 3. But look, I got to talk about Tim Tebow back in the NFL. It's been reported that the 33-year-old former Heisman winning quarterback will be joining the Jacksonville Jaguars as a tight end.
So, wait a second. So, does that mean we got a chance? Because we're 40. That's not too far removed from that dude. I can play tight end.
7 years is a long way, man.
Oh, in hip years, right? In hip years.
So, here's the thing. The Jags' new head coach, Urban Meyer, coincidentally, who was Tebow's coach in Florida.
And they're in Florida, too.
But here's the weird thing. Urban Meyer is suggesting that Tim Tebow will indeed be signed. But the signing hasn't actually happened. So let me ask you this. Will Tim Tebow be on the Jacksonville Jaguars to start the season?
Yes, he will be.
Yeah, because he's got his boy Urban.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a good publicity stunt. He's good PR. He's a well-spoken young man.
He's very intelligent. He gave up. He was on the Mets playing as an outfielder in the minors. And
he did okay.
And here's the thing. However you feel about Tim Tebow, he's annoying. He's this. He's that. I remember the story about him when they were doing the Wonderlic test before the draft, and he's over there like, "Good job, good luck, guys, and here we go, and Jesus is on your side." And they're like, "Shut the hell up." I remember that story. But here's the thing: this man is 33. He is 15 years removed from from college or whatever it is, 11 years, whatever it is. I don't know how long he played in Florida. But he's still pursuing his dreams to be a professional athlete. He's been on TV. He's been doing all the college games. Hey, he's one of the best college players of all time. I want to say he came in second twice for Heisman and first the one time. I mean, I got to give him props for at least following his dream.
I agree with that. I'm not going to knock another dude for exploring his dream and keep it going. But my biggest thing is like how... in the bigger picture is like you have a guy who stood up for his rights, stood up for equality, and got ousted out of the NFL, and he's still not able to get a job.
He got ousted out of the NFL because he's terrible. I mean, and he's coming. Here's the thing: this is not cap. He's getting another job in the NFL. He's getting another job
at a different position.
Well, that's fine, but he's fine. But I mean, it's not like it's the first. Terrell Pryor did that when he was a quarterback from Ohio State. He came in, and like this is not the first time where you see. I want to say
guys switching jobs.
What's his name? And Tannehill was a wide receiver in college. Ryan Tannehill was a wide receiver in college. You don't see that change a position player to a quarterback, but you have seen. I think Shoelace Robinson from Michigan came in and played for the Jags. and he came in as a running back. He was a tiny little guy. He wasn't a very good quarterback, but he was fast, like a wildcat guy. So I mean, it's not out of the question for players to come into the league and then change positions.
Okay,
but look, is Tebow going to be there? He hasn't even been signed yet.
he'll be there.
They haven't signed him yet. We were hearing that he's on the team. Oh, Tebow back in the NFL. Okay, well, he's not even signed. I didn't even find that out until about an hour ago.
Yeah, he'll be there. He'll be there.
Hey, listen up, y'all. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
What's up, Chicago? This is Enrique Calderon coming at you. Wanted to congratulate my boy Jose Big-Z Zalzo and his homie E-Roc from True Chicago Sports Fans Podcast on their 1-year anniversary. They have a party coming up on June 13th at District in Wicker Park from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. So if you're in the area, come check them out. Talk sports, have a drink. Let's celebrate 1-year anniversary, True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast. Y te lo dice Enrique Calderon.
Welcome back to the TCSF podcast with your hosts, E-Roc and Big-Z.
Yeah.
This is The Loop, our Chicago Sports Roundup, where we keep you in the loop.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago.
Z, let's do that hockey.
But hey, as they say in hockey, let's do that hockey.
What's going on over at the Madhouse on Madison and the Chicago Blackhawks?
Yeah, well, the Blackhawks are done. So that wraps it up for the hockey season. No, they got the NHL the draft later on, but right now there's no news.
Yeah,
Blackhawks are done.
They didn't make the playoffs, so let's move on to the other side of the building and what's going on with the Chicago Bulls.
God, I hate that. All right.
Hey, don't be hating on my thinking skills. Let's get it done.
Well, the Chicago Bulls are not that much better already because they're out of the playoffs as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, so Zach LaVine may not pursue the max contract in order to build a team around him.
All right.
So
we actually debated this in our chat quite a bit over the week.
Yeah, it went for a while.
And there's two types of logic here. Number one, that logic of Mike Logic, where he thinks
He's wrong.
that he thinks that it's stupid for Zach LaVine to possibly take less money in order for there to be more money available to get another free agent. If he's willing to do that, in my opinion,
shows leadership.
yes,
Michael did it. Tom Brady did it.
Dwayne Wade did it several times.
Yeah.
LeBron did it when he went to Miami. So this is a tried and true thing. So if you can find a way as a player to make more money available to be able to bring in more players, I think a part of that is now he's playing with another all-star on his team with our boy Vucci Meng, and he's seeing, oh, okay, this is what another all-star looks like. How can I facilitate a way to get another one in here? Well, if you take a little less money, more money will be available to attract another free agent.
So Bradley Beal?
That's the rumor. That's the biggest thing that we're hearing right now, that the Bulls will more than likely do their best to acquire Bradley Beal in the offseason.
Is that going to be enough?
I think it's a great starting point. I think it's a great starting point to have three guys 30 or under. Vooch is, as you know, he's the old man there. But
You still got Pat Will.
what
He's developing.
And that's the hope. I think if look, man, I've been saying it for months. Your boy, the Paw, or what is he, Claw, whatever the hell they call him, his stupid name. If he can develop into a true NBA superstar or even an all-star, you have a chance. Because don't forget, by the time he's going to be really good, Brooklyn will not be what they are. The Lakers will not be what they are.
Nope.
Who knows what's really going to go in Miami, because they're kind of a mishmash.
Yeah.
New York Knicks look really good right now, but how long is that going to stand? Because you have Derrick Rose and you have Taj Gibson, but you do have really good players in that team, RJ Barrett. So it's I think who they got? Obi Toppin. I forgot who the other player they got in this draft, but I mean they have good players on the Knicks. So the Celtics are another team you look out for. But if the Bulls can manage to grab Bradley Beal, because don't forget, The Wizards are the team that knocked the Bulls out of that playing game. That's the team they were fighting for the spot for.
Yep.
So if all of a sudden you subtract, and it's addition by subtraction, or however you want
Yeah, that's right. You got it.
to make that in your head, that could really potentially give you a boost.
Yeah, I think it'll give them a boost to win the Central. I don't think they come out of the first round.
With 3 All-Star players versus who on the East?
Yeah, you still got Milwaukee.
Okay.
You still got
So-
Atlanta.
If the Bulls were to add another All-Star player, you're looking like a 4 or 5 seed. And who's on Atlanta? No, ain't nobody on Atlanta. Trey, was it? I don't remember the kid's
Young?
name. Yeah, the kid that looks like he's been balding since he was 7.5 years old. Why are you like 23 and your hairline looks like mine, bro? What's going on there?
I don't know, but he used to shave it.
They don't give Propecia at his age. I don't understand. Take care of it, bro. So look, again, you're looking at a bunch of teams in the East that are kind of up in flux. Like I said, we look at the Nets that are it's chock full of talent, but how old are they? Okay,
Yeah.
They have enough talent. If they get Beal and Pat Will develops, you got enough talent to make a pretty strong push.
Still don't see them getting over the hump. I don't know. Just don't have the faith.
But for what reason? You have to have a reason why you don't have the faith.
I don't have the faith because
Do you think that
when they had everybody healthy,
do
they
you-
could not play together.
play together what? You had Vucic and you had Zach LaVine, and that's it. You have two.
And marketed at that point.
No. All-star players.
Oh, all-stars,
You keep
yeah.
mentioning these bench players who have not flourished. Like, again, we can talk about marketing for hours.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't developed into the all-star that I know he's going to be in the league. I just know at some point he's going to be. It probably won't be with the Bulls.
Nope.
But he's going to be an all-star in the league. There is no reason that they can't add the pieces with a brand new GM, with a brand new head coach, with a brand new president of operations, completely shaking up the roster in the past few months, bringing in another all-star player to pair with Zach LaVine. There's absolutely no reason if they bring another all-star in and P. Will develops into an all-star, there's absolutely no reason they couldn't make it past the first round.
Still need a point guard.
Okay. You're going to tell me that Zach LaVine can't play point? Or Bradley Beal can't play point? Right.
They like
right.
to shoot.
Huh?
They like to shoot. They don't like to fucking hold the ball.
You still have to figure out a way. If you're a good player, you figure out a way to facilitate. And again, we're only focusing on one player.
We are.
We're only focusing on one player. They have the resources to fulfill what they need to fulfill on that roster to be a competitive team. Now, again, we're not talking about Jim Boylan, and we're not talking about old Turkey Neck and the rest of this crew, okay? We're talking about a brand new regime that's been getting things done since they got here.
Again, stay tuned. All right, so Bulls finished with a 30-40 record. Not great. And I think a lot of the factor was that, we had COVID for Zach LaVine. We had a couple injuries to a couple players, and that determined whether they were not going to get into the playoffs.
Down the stretch, we did find out eventually that Zach LaVine
yeah.
did have COVID. He was tested positive for COVID.
10 games.
That 10-game stretch is where they definitely struggled.
Oh, yeah.
Another thing that we talked about all season was turnovers. Turnovers, protect the ball, I don't care what player Zach LaVine and Kobe White gave that. Look, man, they gave away that ball like it's a 5 o'clock free crack giveaway. Like, what's going on here? You got to protect the rock. That is your job. And that was the biggest thing right there. Again, you completely and totally turned over half of your roster at the All-Star break.
Right.
Okay, this is not the same team that took the floor 5-6 months ago. Okay, so what they were able to accomplish in a short amount of time, I'm pretty optimistic about. That's why when I say if they add other players, they can definitely do something.
Yeah, well, players that I don't expect to return: Marketing, Temple, Makoka, and Felicio, your boy.
What are we talking about Felicio for? Nobody's talking. Felicio not an NBA player.
No, he's not.
He's a seat warmer. So that's get rid of that one.
So you expect Tice to be re-signed and Valentine to be re-signed.
You absolutely
Sign
1,000%
Tice.
need to find a way to get Daniel Tice back in your building, no matter what. Did you just say Denzel Valentine?
Who I did not like.
Should be re-signed?
Who I do not like.
You just said did not and do not. What is
I
it?
do not like this man.
Oh, you don't like him.
But he needs to be re-signed.
Why?
He's a decent bench player. I know I was against it, but then I looked at the numbers, And his efficiency's not that bad.
Oh man, that's so weird. It's like almost like the truth shall set you free.
All right, the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame has officially been announced for the 2021 inductee this Sunday morning, so which is today, sort of. Well, unless you're listening on Thursday, then it's Thursday. All right, finally getting this nod is Bulls legend Tony Kukoc, the waiter.
Wow.
The Croatian sensation.
Wow.
Has been nominated by the International Committee in the past in the past several classes. So including the 2020 class, which is headlined by Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, and Kevin Garnett.
All-star. I mean, like, you are going to be hard-pressed to find a better class of NBA player going into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. Again, stressing on Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame.
Right.
This is not the NBA Hall of Fame. So that's why you get players like Christian Laettner, who didn't do nothing in the NBA, but one of the greatest college basketball players of all time. So they get their props. You get WNBA, you get
coaches,
coaches, commentators. They all kind of get dropped in the same Hall of Fame. I'm glad to see. Look, he was really, when we think about him and Vlade Divac, are the two trailblazers for the European explosion of players that we've seen come into the league in the past 25 years.
Yeah.
And you're talking about not just European players, not just like, oh, that guy was pretty good.
No.
We're not talking about Peja Stojakovic or something like that. We're talking about guys like Dirk Nowitzki, like one of the greatest players of all time. And another guy who right now I believe is going to be the player who's going to be as good as what we perceive LeBron James to be, and that's Luka.
That's crazy.
He's going to be the next best player in the NBA.
And
Once LeBron.
LeBron.
Wait, hey, I'm trying to think of the good times.
Close. No cigar.
Once LeBron retires, who's going to be better than Luka?
Nobody.
Because Luka came in on fire like immediately.
Well, I guess it's different now. Like, remember, we would see college players like, oh, maybe it needs a year or two a season.
Right.
Luka's like, this is my team.
Yeah.
This is my floor. This is my NBA. I'm taking over.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But to be fair, I mean, in Europe, these guys start playing pro ball at like 16.
Exactly. So that's completely different, right? You're playing with grown men out there.
Right. All right, let's go ahead and once again turn it over to veteran Chicago Fire reporter Big-Z.
Hi, I'm Big-Z, and you're not. Well, here we go again. The Chicago Fire lose. A first-half goal would prove enough for the DC United to knock off the Fire 1-0 at Audi Field last Thursday. The active match featured a few rushes. Close but no cigar. That's all I got to say, man. It's literally hard to watch this team, man. Lackluster roster and the same losing results over and over and over. And this is why I don't have season tickets anymore.
This sounds like we are severely failing on a entrepreneurial opportunity where we need to sell TCSF pillows, because it's nap time when we talk about Chicago Fire. These dudes...
It's 90 minutes of the nap, yeah.
You can't be obscure in the landscape of Chicago sports and be bad. What? You can't do that. Hey, you better step it up.
Yeah, it's really bad. What was that team they used to... The Chicago Sting were better. How about that? If you want to throw it back, Chicago Sting were way better. They would sell more tickets than these guys. All right, so yeah, so they're tied with FC Cincinnati for the worst record in Major League Soccer. So we're done.
Oh, goody.
Yeah. So, E, what's going on with our beloved Chicago Bears?
The Chicago Bears had an opportunity to look at their brand new toys fresh from the NFL draft. Last week, the Bears held their rookie minicamps, and early on, it looks like the rookies are already showing chemistry. The standouts were, of course, quarterback Justin Fields and wide receiver Daz Newsome. Reports were that they showed great chemistry right off the bat, so it looks like even aside from the fact that Justin Fields was picked by the Bears, this could be one of the most important and impactful Bears rookie draft classes of all time.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you got the franchise quarterback that's going to be taken over at the helm.
And that's the hope. That's the hope right now. I mean, like
He will.
It seems like when he's out there, you see him and it looks like he's going to do whatever he can, because there's been reports where he quote unquote says, I'm going to do everything that I can. I think that's just reporters looking at what he's doing on the field and knowing that his competitive spirit is not going to allow him to not want to be the starter. So you're seeing him have the drive, have that, tenacious want and that drive to go ahead and want to be the starter as a rookie. I don't agree that he should be starting.
But if he's the best person on the field,
right,
at the end of minicamp, then you got to start him.
Because here's the thing, like simply by drafting Justin Fields, you already say that you want to and that you expect that this franchise is really ready to make a true push at being a factor in the NFC playoff picture for years to come. This combined with the rumors of the Aaron Rodgers possibly leaving Green Bay makes this one of the most interesting off seasons that I can remember. And here's the thing, Rodgers, we don't know what's going on with Rodgers yet, but there is a
they got like 3 quarterbacks besides Rodgers now.
They did sign, I think they signed Blake
So
Bortles.
that's a full $1.
Oh no, bro! No! Don't be playing that. Where's the boo? Boo! Get out of here! Oh my God! So
Dad joke.
I know you've been hanging around with my kids too much, so we start busting out dad jokes.
Yeah.
But we want to talk about jokes. Check this out. There is a dude that on Twitter that goes by @ultraweedhater. I am not gonna say his name.
I just saw it. Nah,
Go ahead and look if you want.
No, don't say that.
@ultraweedhater. This is a fake account, and it is. I saw this from quite a few people actually. It says breaking: Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers announces he is retiring after 16 NFL seasons via Adam Schefter. It's complete and total nonsense. I got that sent to me a couple times. The first thing that I did, I went to Adam Schefter's Twitter, and I'm like, this is, and he's like, no. Come on, dude. Look at the name.
Yeah.
Look at the name. I'm not going to say it, but Barry, that's a creative name there. So here's the thing. We don't know what's going to go on with Aaron Rodgers. I think we all assume that he's going to be back as a quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, but think of it this way. If he retires right now, do the Bears somehow have this extra incentive to kind of put a rush on it and try to get Justin Fields out right away?
Kind of when we got Mac and it opened up the window for winning.
Right.
It was like, okay, now we're serious. We got Mac.
I don't think that they should start Fields right away. I think they have a perfectly capable quarterback with Andy Dalton. And Matt Nagy has come out and actually said today that Andy Dalton is still your QB1, which he should be.
Until you get the whole team and they all practice and Justin Fields shows what he can do.
Shows what he can do and watch but he's going to make mistakes.
Oh,
and
definitely.
I don't want to mess the kid up. I don't want to put him out there too early. He screws up, and what do you got to do? You got to pull him for Dalton, right? Because look at the way that this.
But I think once you go with Fields, you got to stay with Fields.
Okay, but look at the way that this crew handled Trubisky.
Agreed.
We're gonna sit him for a year.
And they brought him out too early.
He
still wasn't cooked. He still wasn't cooked. He was still in the oven.
Yeah.
He was simmering. And they took him out too early.
Yep.
It was raw.
Yep.
And that's what happens.
He wasn't ready yet. Hey, you take the turkey out there when the little thing pops. Bing, bing. That's when it goes. You don't take it out too early. And they definitely did that with Trubisky.
Yeah. So the NFL schedule has been released, ladies and gentlemen. And for the next couple weeks, we'll be breaking down the schedule starting this week with games 1 through 4.
That's right. So for week 1, the Bears will travel to LA to play the LA Rams in their stadium on Sunday Night Football. This should be interesting because not only are the Bears going to be debuting a brand new quarterback for them, they're going to be playing the Rams' new quarterback, Matt Stafford,
who knows the Bears very, very well.
That's correct.
All right, week 2, we have a home game against the Bengals of Cincinnati.
Joe Burrow's going to be back. He's got his wide receiver.
Yep.
So, hey, who knows what's going to happen?
Wait. We didn't get your prediction for game 1. Is that a win? Is it a win or is that a loss?
That's a 50-50 game for me.
Is it?
It is because they haven't played great against the Rams in the last couple of games. They were a couple years ago they beat them, and I want to say it was a primetime game. They did go in there and beat him, but again, this is a whole different dynamic, and I've been saying for a while that if you get Matt Stafford on a team with a bunch of weapons, he's going to do way better than he did in Detroit. Because it's not just the weapons they have on offense, but it's the immaculate defense they have on there, including
Leonard Floyd.
Well, Leonard Floyd, but also Aaron Donald.
Donald, yeah.
Who I mean, like, we love Khalil Mack, and like physically, they're both on par as like being specimens. But I mean,
by the numbers like, right now, he's ahead.
Yeah, Aaron Donald is definitely better than Mack is what we're looking at right now.
So I'm looking at a loss, and then against the Bengals, I think that's a win.
Joe Burrow coming back to the team. We're not talking about your daddy's Bengals. We're talking about a good Bengals squad that has a lot of weapons. So I mean, I think it's a Bears win, but it's also interesting because now you got Andy Dalton playing against Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
So that and Andy Dalton, I don't remember Andy Dalton playing against the Bengals last year, but even if he did, I know Joe Burrow had the busted knee. So this will really be the first time that you see Dalton post his Bengals career face his former team. And that's it. Hey, again, great storylines for the NFL, and especially for the Bears. All right, for Game 3, we're looking at another
young quarterback,
your favorite state, and the
State Farm, baby.
The Bears are going to travel over to the Mistake by the Lake and play the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, the Mistake by the Lake. No one likes to vacation in Ohio, so I actually think this is a Bears loss.
That's a Bears loss because they're in Ohio.
They're a way better team than we are right now.
Are they?
I think so.
Are they?
I think
Based
so.
on what?
They have a solid defense.
Mm-hmm.
We have a better defense, but they have a solid defense. Okay. They have a quarterback that's above average.
Do you believe in Baker Mayfield?
Yeah.
You do?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
You. That's it.
Me and Baker.
Yeah, you and Baker.
And his girlfriend that's in the commercial.
I think they're married by now. But yeah, I mean, look.
I think that's a Bears loss.
I don't know if it's I don't want to call it a loss outright. I don't want to call it a win outright. I feel like this is one of them games where it's going to come right down to the wire, and it's going to rely on a Cairo Santos field goal to win it.
Didn't they sign our old kicker, or was that or someone else?
No, I want to say the Colts signed Eddie Pinheiro.
Yeah.
But he was signed.
He was
definitely signed.
All right, Game 4. This is October 3rd against the new, not improved though, new Lions.
The Motor City Kitties. They're gonna meow all down their leg, and that's it. I mean,
that should be a blowout.
They're bringing them in. They're bringing them into now. Remember, they have a brand new head coach. They got a brand new quarterback. I would say by week 4, they probably won't have it figured out.
No.
But it's definitely going to be interesting. It's how we're going to start the season off in our division. Those are the ones that you always want to win right off the bat, because that's who really you're competing for playoff spots
right
with. So I mean, after that,
I got them 2-2 at this point.
So who are their losses?
Well, I think they what did I say? I have such a bad memory. But they beat the Lions. They're going to beat the Lions.
You got them beating the Lions and the Bengals.
Yeah, the Lions and the Bengals. They beat the Lions and the Bengals. Yeah.
Okay. Based on, you think that the Bears are better, or the Bears that? Here's the thing.
It's just matchups. It's just talking about matchups, really.
Yeah. So you don't think that they have a chance in that first game of the season?
No. Just being honest, no.
All right. So here is something very interesting, and it's the Chicago Bears preseason.
Oh boy.
In game 2 of the preseason, the Bears face the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, Mitch is
going
to play against the Bears.
A lot,
yeah.
A lot.
So will Justin Fields.
Because he's the backup.
Right.
So I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, we can look towards the regular season and break it down all we want.
Mm-hmm.
But your storyline is going to be the old quarterback versus the new quarterback. And you're actually going to get to see them play each other.
Might be a game to go to.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll be right back up with 3 up and 3 down after a quick word from our sponsor.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago.
We all know that 2020 was no joke. And with an ever-changing world climate, many people are looking for a new opportunity. Guys, are you looking for a career that rewards effort and makes you feel valued as a team member? Let me tell you a little about our friends at ACSI. ACSI is a certified RCN business agent. They provide the same RCN services with a personalized touch. Their sales and technician teams work hand in hand, ensuring your experience will be smooth and pleasant. Gone are the days of being transferred from one person to the next. At ACSI, they handle everything from start to finish. It's never been so easy to get internet service. ACSI is a growing Chicagoland company that encourages personal growth and rewards perseverance. As they expand, they're looking for passionate, responsible, and honest professionals to join their team. A career with ACSI means you'll be part of a hardworking, flexible, and dynamic team that is a leader in the installation of cable and internet services in the Chicagoland area. Best of all, ACSI was awarded Hacia's 2020 Contractor of the Year Award. Are you ready to grow with a local Chicago company on the rise? Check out acsi.tech and click on careers to get started. That's acsi.tech and click on careers. Welcome back to the True Chicago Sports Fans Podcast with E-Roc and Big-Z.
Yeah.
It's time to touch bases with our baseball teams. This is 3 up and 3 down.
I think I'll perplex him with my slow ball.
1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out.
Z, tell me what's going on the south side.
White Sox, White Sox, go, go, White Sox.
Southsiders, baby. White Sox are in first place. They actually took a loss this week after whooping.
What?
Yeah, they had two series where they had a 6-game winning streak.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
I know you don't hear that on the north side. I know.
They're not invincible. Oh my God!
Yeah, they swept 2 divisional foes, and they're finished up the weekend against the Royals again. And after that, they go see the Twinkies and the Yankees, and then come home to play the Cardinals and the Orioles. So we had an exciting game that we were watching as we were recording, where Abreu comes in and scores.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it slid around the home the catcher.
So he pulled the swim move.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know who else? You know where he got that from?
I can't say that.
Javier Baez.
Yeah, well, no, I was gonna say something else, but yeah, go sure. Yes, Javier Baez.
Oh man, it's getting spicy in here.
It's just spicy. The White Sox also had a scary moment. Speaking of Abreu, because he collided with Dozer. Because Grandal was in the way of catching a pop fly.
Grandal wasn't in the way.
He was in the way of Dozer. He was on a baseline, on the running line. So Dozer has to go all around. And Abreu, I'm gonna put this on Abreu. He came in running full speed and did not look.
You big dummy! What are you doing? Where are you coming from first for a pop fly right there in front of the catcher? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
What?
I can't speak to him, but he came back the next day, hit a home run, and today he scored a winning run. So he's made up for it.
That's fine. What are you doing?
Yeah, you should not be doing that.
What are you doing? Because here's the thing: we know damn well that something stupid like that will take you out for 6 weeks,
or 6 months, according to the other idiot who was hanging down the fence.
Look,
let's be facts here.
But look, the point is that it's a mental mistake. I mean, it's 100%.
It is, and the thing is, there's been a lot of mental mistakes on the field.
Right.
Tim Anderson and Moncada. There's been a pop fly in infield, and Moncada does not hear or see Tim Anderson.
No.
He almost gets smacked in the face. There's been a couple in the outfield as well. It's been bad. Lurie against here did a couple of those too. The White Sox right now, they sit 2 games up in the Central, and have been doing it out without the long ball. They're last in the league in the long ball with the home runs. So when the weather breaks and it starts getting warm, and these Cuban players and Latin players enjoy this warm weather, you expect the long ball.
They're still scoring a ton of runs.
They have the biggest run differential in the MLB.
So that's really where
manufacturing runs.
Well, manufacturing runs. That's what separates good teams from great teams.
Yeah,
good teams can hit the long ball. They're going to hit home runs. We know that the White Sox can hit home runs, but now with the absence of Eloy and Lubob, you have to find a different way to score runs.
Yeah.
Because Madrigal ain't going to do it.
No, he's not going to hit home runs.
Right.
He might be getting one this year, if
right.
anything.
Tim Anderson is not. He'll hit some, but he's not going to hit a ton.
No.
Okay. Abreu is going to hit some, but he's not going to hit a ton. He'll hit a good amount. He'll hit double digits, maybe hit 20, but he's not going to hit like 40 home runs.
Abreu hit 25.
You know what I mean? Moncada, I'm still waiting for him to bust out. But what they're doing is they are scoring runs without the long ball, which is impressive because my biggest thing with the Chicago White Sox is the amount of egos in that room, especially on the left side. Well, not just him, but on the left side of the infield when you got Moncada and you got TA. Now, I feel like Moncada is got a gigantic head putting out music videos and stuff like that. So when you say that he can't be called off when TA is like, hey, it's mine. Well, that makes perfect sense.
It's the shortstop's field. We know that. You coach and I coach.
You're the quarterback.
Right. So, I mean, there's no way that Moncada should be banging into people.
Right. So, I mean, and I mean, here's the thing. Abreu rushing to catch a ball that was a pop fly in front of the catcher.
I don't think Grandal called it.
That's still ego too. You got to, I mean, like, come on, bro.
It's bonehead. It's bonehead plays.
Well, that too, but I mean, like,
it's literally fielding 101. When you teach that, if it's your ball, call for it.
Absolutely, 100%. And we look. I'm very, very familiar with that over here, trying to teach these girls call it, and you get one girl, the whole team. Yeah. And you know what? The thing that drives me nuts is every once in a while they go, "You got it." I'm like, no, you can't do that.
No.
If you say, as soon as I hear your voice, I'm backing off.
Right.
Don't speak.
It sounds like
I know just what
like in volleyball too. You got it, and then the ball hits the floor. Yeah.
Don't tell me why it hurts. All right.
All right, E. What's going on with the Cubbies? Let's switch.
No doubt that I will tell you all the news about the Chicago Cubs. Check it out. Third baseman Chris Bryant was removed in the 7th inning last Wednesday during the Cubs' 2-1 loss to the Indians after being hit in the left wrist.
Ouch.
He didn't actually start the game because he was recovering from an illness, but with the game tied in the 7th, Cubs skipper David Ross turned to him as a pinch hitter, and he was actually really lucky to escape serious injury. And the thing is, with KB, that's his thing, like these weird nagging injuries. And now I'm looking at it like this year, he's not getting the bad breaks. He's staying healthy for the most part. He seems like he's ready to go. He's really starting to rake. So here's my question to you as an outsider.
Right.
Do you think that his relationship with the Cubs is too fractured for him to be able to sign a long-term deal this offseason? Now, I'll remind you, he's 29. This will be his first crack at a true free agency because he hasn't had that yet.
Right.
And his agent is Scott Boras.
Expect him to hit the free market. He's 29. He's got about 5 years. And especially if he goes to the American League, that's another 10.
Even as a free agent, I'm saying, is there any possibility that
He's not staying with the Cubs. He's not staying with the Cubs.
Even in free agency? You don't think that the Cubs will offer him enough money?
They didn't want to keep you. They didn't want to sign Schwarber. They were shedding salary. Remember that. I'm not talking about the quality of the play. I'm talking about shedding salary.
You don't have salary right now. What's the point of shedding salary?
They want to get younger
and sign other players. You have to have money to be able to sign other players. Right. So is Yu Darvish at 34, 35 years old more valuable to the Cubs than a 29-year-old Chris Bryant?
He would have been more valuable if you would have kept him to the trade deadline.
That's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you right now. Let's say, okay, let's put it this way. Going into next season,
right?
Who's more valuable to the Cubs, a 36-year-old Yu Darvish or a 30-year-old Chris Bryant?
Chris Bryant.
Right. So when you say shedding salary, am I getting rid of someone who's going to cost me a ton? If I don't think I'm going to win this season, I'm going to get rid of the players, knowing that I can bring back other players to try to win in the next couple years.
You're not going to win this season. You're not going to win next season either.
You don't know. It depends. Free agent market, man.
They are not going to turn the entire roster around.
You don't need an entire roster on the Cubs. You can fit. You need pieces.
You have a couple of little spark plugs right now, but that's not sustainable.
Here's the two things that they need to do: starting pitcher and starting pitcher. If you can get another really good starting pitcher on this team, and then get another guy who can essentially be a 2 or a 3, then you're in business. My issue right now is the rotation. Because I'm looking at this guy, Trevor Williams, whose dad is a huge Cubs fan, and we
Right.
know that. And my question is Trevor Williams' time in the Cubs rotation over?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, he hasn't pitched well.
He hasn't been pitching well, and he started last week against the Tigers, and he was pulled after the second inning, and they brought in a young guy who got a start early in the year,
Right.
Keegan Thompson, and he sparkled.
Yeah, he pitched very well.
So I'm kind of on the fence with Trevor Williams, but here's the thing. Rossi came out and he said that for now, Williams' roster spot is secure. He says, I have a ton of respect for Trevor. I gave him some managerial thoughts. I gave him some former catcher thoughts, and we had a really good conversation.
I would say he's got about less than a handful of starts before they make a decision.
I think it's three more. Three more.
Right.
And then you might have to look at someone in the... Because remember, Trevor Williams is new to the Cubs. He was a free agent signing that came in from the Pirates, and he was okay. You know, I don't think we were expecting a ton out of him. Arrieta's been pretty decent. I mean,
He's been serviceable, right?
He's been very serviceable for the Cubs, and like I said before, I think he's more comfortable back here where he.
And there's no
best
pressure
years.
for him. He's just out there pitching every fifth day. There's no pressure.
So while we're talking about starting pitchers for the Cubs, John Lester took a minute to talk about his mind state when he's coming back to Wrigley. He talked to Jesse Rogers about his return to the North Side and how emotional it'll be for him. Lester said, it's natural. You know, I had to get over some stuff leaving Boston. Chicago was my home for 6 years. We have a house there. My kids grew up there. You invest in a city. You invest in a place that you're working. And yeah, there's going to be some emotions involved.
Yeah, Lester's a class act dude. So yeah. I'm actually a fan of Lester. So I kind of understand where you say, like, yeah, I was in Boston, we won, but Chicago became my home.
Yes.
And my kids are still there, and my house is still there.
I think with Lester, even with winning championships in Boston, there was still a hangover of people wanting to mention that he had cancer over and over and over. Leaving Boston, going to the A's for that, a couple months to help try to get them through the playoffs, and then coming here as a free agent. I mean, he's widely considered the best free agent signing in franchise history. They actually declined a $25 million team option for this 2021 season.
Rightfully so.
Because that is a lot of money.
Rightfully so.
And, he sat around and he waited and waited and waited, and the new offer from the Cubs never came. I mean, he's been in the league for 16 years. At some point, you have to be honest with yourself and say, I got to take whatever money's coming to me, or I don't get to play at all. So what he did, it's starting to get late in the offseason. He signed with the Nets for 1 year for $5 million because the Cubs never really offered much.
Yeah, I put that on the Cubs. I put that on the front office. I put that in management. I put that, with the owner. You could have signed this true Cub, this guy that means so much to the city, so much that he's invested in his charities and so forth. He was a Cub, and he should have finished his career as a Cub. You could have got him for cheap.
Even so.
Even if let's say they offered $8 million for 1 year.
Even
he would have took it.
Even at $8 million, when we're talking about, you look at, if you have a great rotation,
which you don't.
That's if you have a great rotation, it makes up for a lot of the mistakes that are made in batting, where you should have hit that home run and you didn't, or whatever it is. So I mean, like that they'll kind of counteract one another. Lester doesn't have it anymore. He doesn't. And when you're talking about a team who's trying to cut salary, trying to get rid of trim the fat, trying to hold on. Hey, who do we have here that was part of our core that we can continue on with for the next, let's say, 5 years? We think that Javi's going to be a part of that, trying to get him money. Contreras, another player who's very good, very valuable to the team. Anthony Rizzo, you have a certain core of players. See what happens to KB. Lester is an older guy. And if we're getting rid of a guy like Yu Darvish, there's no way I'm keeping Lester. If I'm trying to revamp
for $8 million, you could have kept him.
For what reason? If the whole point is that I'm trying to revamp my starting rotation, seeing who I can give a chance to.
But then you sign Arrieta. Don't. You can't play both sides of the card and say, I don't want an old guy, and then sign Arrieta.
Arrieta, number one, I don't think he's as old. And number two, you're bringing him in for a fresh start. You can't, a guy who's been here for 6-7 years doesn't get a fresh start by coming back for one more year. And when we talk about the fact that people were upset when Lester was gone, we talked about the fact that people were upset when Jake Arrieta was gone. When he came back, we were excited because distance makes the heart grow fonder. So we have much better memories of Arrieta because we're thinking about all the good things. Oh, I can't wait till he does those good things again. You forget about when he starts walking or when he starts, kind of getting out of his gourd. So that's the thing about, if we're comparing the two. Finally, the Cubs brought up a couple of players because they've been hurting so bad. They activated Ian Happ, Arrieta, and Nico Horner from the IL in time for the Tigers series, and they absolutely needed these guys back, especially Happy because their outfield platoon has been completely depleted with Jake Marisnick also missing time.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in the water in Chicago, but there's a lot of injuries to baseball players here.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but my hope is that they're going to be able to kind of come out of what they're doing. I really, I look at this as a 500 season. I really don't know what's going to go on. They're not a bottom feeder. They won the division last year in the short.
No, you're
season.
not the Pirates.
So, I mean, we're looking at some of the standings today. We were just talking about it. Some of these teams in the AL Central are already 10 games below.
The Tigers and the Twins are already 10.5 games out of first place. That's insane.
You should be happy the Twinkies are failing right now. But I mean, look, I don't know. This is, again, Chicago sports purgatory with what's going on. So, but I look at it like this. Let's see what some of these younger guys that the Cubs have can do and see where you're going to be able to supplement the areas where you're lacking.
We have a lot of work to do.
Both sides do.
I
really,
know.
to me,
We're just patching. We're just putting duct tape on our boat right now.
I don't care who they have on the roster. You absolutely have the wrong manager on that team.
Yeah.
It's frustrating as an outsider to watch the Chicago White Sox oozing with talent, waiting to pop. And the oldest dude I've ever seen in my life.
Just Moses.
Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious.
All right, everybody, let's take a pause for the cause and hear a quick word about our friends at Grit Clothing Company.
I think I'll perplex him with my slow ball.
1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out.
Hey, true Chicago sports fans, show off your Chicago pride with some fresh clothes from Grit Clothing Company. At Grit Clothing, they create that simple yet classic style that represents that Chicago Southside lifestyle. From t-shirts to hoodies, hats to glassware, they've got you covered. Grit has everything you need to represent your Chicago pride, so do it right now. Check out gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15.
TrueFan15.
For 15% off your entire order. Let me say it again. That's gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off of your entire order.
What's up, Chicago? This is Enrique Calderon coming at you. Wanted to congratulate my boy Jose Big-Z Zalzo and his homie E-Roc from True Chicago Sports Fans podcast on their 1-year anniversary. Y te lo dice Enrique Calderon.
How's it going?
Sir. I'm okay. I'm sorry. Between kids and then work calls going over, it was hard to get to you on time. So doing well.
No worries. I totally understand. Just wanted to catch up with you, see what you think of the finale.
Yeah, it's bittersweet. Obviously, you don't want it to be over. You still have that same feeling you have as a Chicago fan when you feel like, well, we could have won like 2 more. Why did they break the team up? But growing up, hearing my dad come home and tell his stories, like, it wasn't new news that, like, Krause was doing what he was doing and all that. Like, we knew, even stories on the bus of the players fighting with him, like, all that stuff that came out, we kind of knew and were told just to be quiet about it, but now it's out, so.
What is something that you think that they could have added to that episodes?
Oh, man, there's a lot. Well, personally, the first thing that comes to mind, my father, Gus Slett, got some time, but the third guy that really deserved some time was Clarence Travis. He was like the spirit of the team. Like, he was always a jokester. He was a great guy. He's like a grandfather. I mean, he's actually my godfather. So that, as a Catholic, he was my godfather. Good name. My middle name's Travis, after him.
Wow.
So I wish he got a little more time, because he was the funniest guy I ever met in real life. Like, and just a good person to be around. He felt like a grandfather. He was just a good man, and always ripping on my dad and giving my dad and Gus a hard time. He was the one that kept everything fun. He was probably the most fun of all of them, to be honest with you. And was always cracking a joke or like making things not so serious, whereas Gus was extremely serious. My dad was kind of learning from them both. You could see he was a little younger, and then you had Clarence Travis, who was just constantly, like, he was the life of the party. He was a person hosting everybody at his house and cooking, and his wife was the sweetest lady. My godmother, I mean, so sweet. So I wish he'd have got a little more time. I wish they would have spent more time just kind of showing, I think it was important them showing Michael's, the grind, like, and I think spending a little more time, even with baseball. Terry Francona was quoted as saying, like, if Michael had more time, he would have made it, so would have liked to see more of that, his life on the road, because that kind of, I won't say humbled him, but it like that time he spent with the players helped him remember what it felt like just to be one of the guys, and that rejuvenated him, I think, in some ways. So yeah, that's my humble opinion. Yeah.
What is your opinion on the Jordan's one of the last comments in the last episode? He's saying, "I wish we could have stayed together. We would have all signed for one more year." Yeah, he said he thought that he could have got everybody signed. I think he would. If
it, financially, that would. I don't know what the numbers were. I remember back then Michael was making like $30 million a year. Yeah. So that's a lot of money in the 90s.
Yes.
That's a lot of money at any time, but to have a 1 year, so maybe he would have had to have taken a hometown discount to make it work, but I'm sure he would have, because it's just a bad feeling I can imagine, to be winning and then that's like being the number one salesperson, you get fired, you're told to you get let go. It's like, this makes no sense.
Yeah, we don't care how much you sell. You're just not coming back.
You're just not coming back. Yeah, it's like,
what am I doing?
Yeah, right. So, but that was pretty amazing for them to overcome that adversity together and still make it. So, I think it was that's unsettling. It's just as a Chicago sports fan, right? Like, still unsettling thinking of Michael in a Wizards jersey. Like, it's just I
don't think that ever happened.
You can never live with that. Yeah, it's like.
Yeah, just speaking on the numbers, I think the Bulls had about 14 million available to sign Pippen, and Pippen wanted a $25 million contract, and then I don't know if Jordan would have taken that much of a cut.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know maybe you never know. Yeah. But like the fact that
we'll never know is a problem.
Yeah, and it just would have. It just would have it would have been nice to have the Bulls in those conversations with the Celtics and the Lakers, like 11 championships, and things like that. But then again, I think like the Bulls front office, they messed themselves up so bad. I don't think they'll ever come back from. It'll be like Babe Ruth in Boston. You know what I mean? It'll be 100 years before the Bulls win again.
Yeah. That's what it seems like right now. Yeah. We're gonna have to pick a second team.
Yeah. Everyone's hoping the Bears can play. Or pick up another. Yeah. It's unfortunate.
Is there a player from either the first three-peat or the second three-peat that you think that maybe they could have interviewed him or maybe give him a little more screen time?
Sure. Yeah, for sure. And the second one, Tony Kukoc. I think Tony Kukoc had more value, than what he was presented. They should have got Kukoc. Luke Longley. I know Michael and Luke Longley were not like best of friends.
They're not on speaking terms at all.
Yeah, it'd have been interesting to hear Luke Longley's.
I believe it denied the request to be on.
Did he? Yeah. See, he was probably just like, forget, but he won him some championships. So I definitely think Tony Kukoc, because he was very instrumental to that second, three-peat. On the first one, I would have thought they got Bill Cartwright. I'd have thought more. They got BJ. I think they did right on that first repeat. I just think on that second repeat, getting more Tony Kukoc would have made more sense.
Yeah, I agree. The waiter was such an instrumental part to complementing Pippen and Jordan that, he picked up all the slack that they left over.
Well, he was supposed to be like the great. I mean, he helped open the international doors too, because he was supposed to be one of the greatest players out of Europe. So that I thought that would have been cool to see. Who would have been? I think he wasn't that. I don't know what his terms or relationship was, but remember the first three guy, Craig Hodges.
Oh, Craig Hodges, yeah, he won the 3-point contest a couple of years.
I think Craig Hodges might have made some sense to speak to. But they got everybody. I think that if I'm reaching for somebody in that first half, maybe Craig Hodges.
I'm thinking maybe even Randy Brown.
Yeah, Randy Brown, the second one, might have made some sense. I was surprised how much time Scott Burrell got too. I know because Michael's always ripping on Burrell. I'm like, man, that guy got a lot of time. But it helped remind me when I get in my arguments with people on Facebook or people I know when they say LeBron, is better than Michael, and Michael had better teams than LeBron. I start naming people like Randy Brown, Rusty LaRue, Judd Bushler. I'm like, really? You look at LeBron's worst players was Michael Beasley, who was the second draft pick. I'm like, come on, stop.
Yeah, it's ridiculous when they start comparing, and it's been all over ESPN all morning, and who's the better this and that. They're completely different players.
They are actually. They should be comparing Michael to, or they should be comparing LeBron to Magic Johnson or Oscar Robertson, or LeBron's a power forward that can play point guard,
right?
And he's a facilitator. I always said he's a souped-up Scottie Pippen.
Yeah, and I agree with you with that. Just Scottie Pippen was way ahead of his time with his skill set that, if you drop him in today, he's going to be very successful.
If you drop him in today, Scotty was, I don't know, name him, just a tall guard, so I don't understand I get tired of it because it's two different products. You know what I mean? It's like,
that's Pepsi and Coke. Is you're gonna pick your flavor.
Yeah, it's like, it's not even no contest.
So now that you've seen the whole thing, and once your dad was on screen and got his little 15 minutes of fame, how did that change for you? Like how much, I guess, notoriety are you getting from, everyone just reaching out for you and wanting to know more about your dad?
Yeah, it's insane, actually. It's been a lot, just like a lot of requests for conversations. I actually got in touch with Esty, Mr. Jordan's business manager, and I was like, hey, I just want your blessing it's my dad, always told us never talk, but I wanted to have the opportunity to speak about my dad because he deserved it. The guy, he was a hardworking Chicago police officer father, and didn't brag about himself, but did some great things I learned about during the end of his life, and especially his funeral, meeting a lot of his friends from back in his old neighborhood, and it just selfishly felt good for me to be able to talk about my dad and not have to be myself, be out in media or whatever. So it was an honor to talk about him. It's unbelievable how many people friended me and just said, hey, I lost my father, I lost my mother, they were Bulls fans. I try to respond to every single person just because this is going to fade, and I'm looking forward to it in some ways, just to okay, we're done. I'm not doing any of this for any revenue, so it's more like I just, I want it to be through in some respect, and still, give Michael his, it's about Michael, and then seeing my dad, being able to speak about him and his legacy and his life has been a great honor. And anybody that is touched or enjoyed my dad at this time during COVID and various things going on, I'm happy he could still be a blessing to people like he was during his life.
Right. Now, I know they showed Kobe a little bit I was hoping that Michael might have talked a little bit more about, you know, him being a big brother to Kobe, because Kobe said that Michael was his big brother and he would call him.
Yeah.
I thought they could have touched a little bit more on his relationship with the different players outside of the Bulls.
Yeah. Yeah, I do, you know, especially in that second three-peat. I think they did a good job. I mean, they were very limited, you know, like the time. Like if they had, I know Jason Ayer talked about this on various shows. Like if he could have done another like 15 episodes, I think he would have been able to fit all that in. But I do think they touched on Kobe coming up and how he was viewed by Michael. I think that was cool how they did that. I would have liked to seen like I thought it was interesting, the whole fight between Isaiah and Michael. I think people don't understand how personal Isaiah Thomas would take it. Like I heard he'd come back home from being from Chicago and all his family's wearing Jordan jerseys, you know? So that would have been cool to talk about more. But no, especially with Kobe. Maybe, you never know, maybe they're saving the Kobe stuff for when they do Kobe's documentary. You know?
Do you have any stories between, you know, yourself and Michael and the family that you can share?
Yeah, there were joking times. There were times when we would just go hang out, where, you know, like my dad, like for example, when they'd open the gates up for trick-or-treating during Halloween, we would go there while my dad would be working the gate with some of the security guards, because you had lines and lines of people just coming to get a piece of candy and see Michael Jordan. So we'd be upstairs playing, or we would be trick-or-treating, and then we'd come back to the house and we'd see all these people, and we'd just be playing up in their playroom. They had like an indoor basketball playroom, and we would just hang out. I've told people this before. I kind of took it for granted because it was just, you know, since I grew up being a part with my dad being a security guard. He'd bring me to the day games, because you remember they used to have day games, right? Like noon, you know. Like
the NBC games, right?
Yes. So he would take me during the day with him on a Saturday, and I would just hang out in the lot. And then if it was too cold, he'd put me in somebody's car, and I would just hang out until the starting lineup. Then he'd say, "All right, let's go." And then he'd bring me on the floor during the starting lineup. Back in the old stadium when they had like the spotlight and they had that bull, the light bulb bull on the. And now I just remember being scared, like literally. I remember like crying one time when I was like 5, 6, like, because it was so loud. But there was nothing like that old stadium. Like that old stadium was the greatest.
Oh,
that was awesome.
The acoustics there were amazing. It was super loud.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then like the floor was sticky and smelled like beer and popcorn. And I remember that. I remember that a lot. You know. But yeah, just crazy stuff. I mean, no real crazy. I mean, just like hanging out with the Jordan kids, and all of a sudden Michael Jordan walks in and starts playing with you like a child. You know, it's just like, yeah, it's cool. It was, but I didn't realize how cool it was when I got older. Because to us, it was just like, oh yeah, you know, it's Michael Jordan, Dad's friend. And, you know, like, we were always told, our dad always like taught us not to, he conditioned us not to be starstruck, be respectful, like be super respectful. Don't be like, hey, M, you know, or hey. Like even if Mr. Jordan would allow it, my dad would never allow that line to be crossed, you know.
Well, I think your dad instilled in you that, you know, you're getting to see the person. You're not getting to see the persona or the mirage of Michael Jordan. You get to see actual Michael Jordan as a father, as a friend, as you know, a part of the community there. So you got to see a completely different side that most people don't get to see. Yeah,
I would say often as a kid I'd wonder why people were so like, I don't want to say afraid of him, but more like why, like he was a mean person. Now he was very determined to win, as you saw, but he was super nice, like to people. Obviously he would joke and rip on his friends, but he was like, he's a very loving, loyal, generous, you know, guy. So he wasn't like, you know, they call Scottie Pippen no tipping Pippen because he wouldn't tip, right? Like, you know, but Michael's like very good.
So what was your last interaction with Michael?
Just text messages. When my father died, he left a message and said, your father was, I loved your dad. He was more than a friend. He was a brother. He even told me I loved him more than you guys did. And I said, yeah, probably for a certain period of time during our teenage years, you probably did.
Yeah.
You know, he'd be straight up, I love him more than you guys. You know, talking about me and my family and my brothers, you know. So, like, He was dead serious about that. He loved my dad, and it meant a lot because he gave my dad, friendship, brotherhood, purpose, like it was a real friend. And my dad looked up to him as well, in their own ways, in their own rights. On the court, Michael was an all-star. My dad, as a Chicago police officer, was an all-star, as were the rest of the guys on his team. So that, that game, so to speak, recognized and respected the game. Last year, actually, just text. Like, I didn't even bother texting him this whole week. Like, I don't want to overstep anything, but just text messages saying, thank you, or even making jokes. I think the last text I sent was like, "You created a monster," when my dad went all viral. He sent me the crying, laughing emoji. I was like, man, look what you did.
Look what you did, yeah.
Yeah.
So who was able to bring your dad into the atmosphere of working for the Bulls? How did that come about?
Yeah, so it was really, my dad was a Chicago police officer, and some of the guys, they would always work part-time jobs. When you're a Chicago police officer, you always do something else when you're like on furlough, or you like firefighters do too, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times it's security jobs. So my dad was working, he was working Chicago WhiteSox baseball security for a long time, and then he decided to go over to the Bulls via Clarence Travis and Gus Lett, and all those guys were just, it's like, imagine you and your buddies are doing a job, and you all are like, hey, let's go work over here. And at the same time, Michael was in his first rookie year, second year, so it just happened. And Michael described it in the scenes yesterday. They just, over time, they escorted him in, they talked to him, and they just got to know him, and over time, the relationship just blossomed differently with each of the security guards. I often say my dad was like a brother. Michael calls him a brother, like a little brother. Like, they're always trying to, like, my dad was one of the youngest in that group, so he was always, prodding Michael and messing with him and trying to, go against him in something. So that clip of him in the quarters was really a good capture. It captured a constant theme, whereas Gus was truly like a father figure,
Right.
So that was cool. See, one story that came out of it, I linked up my Uncle CT's son, Deron Travis, with the media person I'd been talking to. And one story I forgot about that I got reminded of was he was in a shooting contest. So Deron, the son of Clarence, was in a contest for shooting. They do after the first or second quarter halftime show type thing. And Michael somehow got a hold of the security guards and said, "I bet you all combined that Deron loses." And, so he was, so just joking, and actually Deron made the shots and won. So, they all had to collect. It was nothing major, but it was more like if Michael got wind that my Uncle CT's son was in the contest. And he said, "I bet you he loses."
Wow.
So this was Michael always that's during the first quarter, after the first quarter, you know what I mean? He had time to
pulling the, it's called ribbing, you pull a little rib and see, a little salt on
the
it.
Game, during the game. So it's just funny that they have these little stories,
All right, so I don't want to take up too much of your time, and we'll talk soon again, but just, how would you want your dad to be remembered? We've seen the joking side. We know he's a police officer who's served for the city of Chicago and did very well for that. And then, was one of Michael's good friends. But your perspective, what do you want the people to know, and how do you want your dad to be remembered?
Yeah, I keep seeing stories about him from other people I didn't know about. And the one word that comes to mind is just a giver. He gave of himself to the city as a police officer. And as some people quote it as the real police, not just looking for a job, but he wanted to be engaged as a police officer, even if that meant his life. So that, taking the most dangerous jobs, that sticks out. So a giver, someone who sacrifices and gives, strong values, and just generally a giver and a friend. A good father. I told someone that he could be so hard on us because he would watch Michael and Tim Grover go through training, and I never understood. It was almost like, oh, that's why he would say that to us as kids, because he would watch the development of Michael becoming a winner, so he tried to filter that and bring it home to us, and we were just like, are you crazy? But but he cared. It was because he cared. He wanted the best for us. And the older I got, the more I understood how much he loved us and cared for us kids. So he was devoted. And just a giver. Wasn't in a drama. Just wanted to just was quick to forgive. So he was a good combination of being a giver and someone that would do his job as a police officer. Someone you wouldn't want to mess with. At the same time, somebody who was truly caring and loving and giving.
Awesome, Nico. Well, thank you for your time. We'll chat soon. Again, thank you for doing this again. And just listening about stories about your dad are just awesome.
Yeah. And all the best to you and yours. Hope everyone is okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right, take care.
Welcome.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Welcome back to the True Chicago Sports Fans Podcast with E-Roc and Big-Z.
Yeah.
It's that time again, brother.
Uh-oh.
You know what time it is.
Oh, boy.
It's time for Stirring the Pot.
Oh, man.
All right, so it is almost summertime.
Uh-huh.
What is something that you like to grill that is not meat?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Wait, hold up. Are you giving me an open-ended question?
I sure am.
So that guarantees that I'm going to be correct.
Not
because
really. Not
my
really.
answer is always
Not really. Our friends
right.
will disagree.
Just ask my wife.
She's not going to agree with you.
Shut up. Oh man, that's a good question. I would say, damn, I really don't.
Ooh,
maybe okay, corn.
Damn,
yeah.
Damn it, that was my stupid answer too.
That means I was right. That's right, ladies.
That means
and gentlemen.
I was right.
Of all of the possible answers that I could give, I picked
my
the
goodness.
one and only correct answer. So once again, I am undefeated. That's right. I waited for the laughs to be over, and I'm undefeated again. Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of different ways you can grill corn. I've seen with the husk on. I've seen with the husk off. I've seen covered in tinfoil.
Right.
But I would say I'm not big on corn on the cob. I think it's kind of a mess.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. It's fine.
It's a summer thing, really.
Yeah. I mean, just in general, I like elotes, but give it to me in a cup. You know what I mean? But I mean, as far as what is the best, I've seen people do zucchini and carrots and all this stuff. But I mean, look, man, my grill is for meat. That's I need meat.
Arby's, we have the meat.
Relax, Arby's. Relax, Arby's.
We got the meat.
That's right.
All right, man. Before we go, what you looking at? What are you watching that isn't sports?
To be honest with you, all my shows have ended, especially all the primetime shows. I think they're about to go on a hiatus. Mayans had a great season finale. But the thing I just started watching again, and that was because I stayed home all day on Saturday, was
recovering.
Actually, I was fine. I was literally fine. I went and played softball, so I was fine. I've been watching Sopranos again. It's just a timeless classic.
I will say over the past however many 10 years or whatever, I've dabbled back and forth. I'll go in and watch a season of Sopranos here and there. And I still haven't finished Boardwalk because it's one of those. It's probably what happened last time is that I watch half of it and then forget it exists and start watching something else. A couple things that I've been watching. My wife's birthday was the day after yours over last weekend, and one movie. She's a big true crime and
be careful.
Yeah, I know.
Have the dog taste your food first.
Every time I walk through, every time I walk through and I see that show Snapped is on, and all of a sudden the cable mysteriously goes out. Oh, what happened? Don't give me ideas. But one movie that we watched, it came out a couple years ago, and it's called The Clover Hitch Killer. It was actually a very good, very interesting movie. It says killer in the name, so people get a little squeamish. It is not gory. It's kind of a thriller type of thing, but we've talked about this before. I have a tendency to favor movies over TV shows. 2 hours and I'm out. I know how it ends. I don't have to wait 10 weeks to be like, oh, did they do it? No, they didn't.
But it's different. We grew up and the shows were 26 weeks.
Yeah. Someone was just. I want to say I was listening to I think Tina Fey was talking on the Smartlist podcast. I don't know if you ever heard that.
Okay.
Smartlist is fantastic. It's who is it? It's Will Arnett, Jason Bateman, and I want to say Sean Hayes.
Batman.
You know, so I mean, like, and then they just have they surprise each other every week with the guests that they're gonna have.
Okay.
So they've like, and I don't have enough time to listen to every show.
Right.
But they recently had Tina Fey, and one of the things that she talked about was the fact that back in the day, we used to have 26 episode seasons for shows, and now we get maybe 12 if we're lucky.
Yeah, it's so annoying because, you know, it was literally like, all right, well, school's in session, shows are starting.
Yeah.
And then they take a little hiatus for Thanksgiving because, you know, football's on. And then they go for like 2 more weeks, and then, oh, wait, Christmas break, all right?
Christmas
and
special.
then, you know, right. And then you wait till like the end of January where all the holidays are over.
Yeah.
And then your season starts over again.
Right.
And then
They finish it off.
All the way to May sweeps. That was the biggest thing.
Right.
May sweeps. It's
Right.
like, oh, you know something bad is going to happen.
But see, the thing is that the way that we consume television is completely different now, because even here, as we sit in the studio, I mean, we're streaming, you know, TV to the screen here. We're not watching a channel. You know what I mean? So it's a little different. I mean, the other show that I wanted to talk about is a show called The Upshaws, and this is Mike Epps, it's Kim Fields.
Oh, that's what you told me about.
Yeah, Mike Epps, Kim Fields, and Wanda Sykes. Wanda Sykes made the show. It's really funny. It's when we're talking about sitcoms here, it's very reminiscent of the old Norman Lear style multicam sitcoms.
Okay.
Mike Epps plays a father who owns a mechanic shop, and he has a bunch of different kids throughout different stages of his life and his career, and his navigation of having kids by one person and having kids different ages and things like that. And Wanda Sykes plays his sister-in-law, and Kim Fields is his wife, and it's actually pretty funny, pretty entertaining. I'm not a fan of Mike Epps' stand-up. I don't think it's very funny.
It's
but
okay.
Him in a cast with other people to play off of,
yes,
that's his role.
Yeah. He plays a great sidekick in the movies.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, your 5 minutes, they were amazing.
All about the Benjamins.
Right. Like, you want stand up for an hour? Not so much.
My favorite is still when he's in All About the Benjamins, when he has dude in the bathtub. He's like, you'll never find a hairline like mine. And at the time it was funny. Now it just hurts. Now it just hurts me to my core.
All right, y'all. Let's get out of here, man.
All right, y'all. That is it for today. Thank you so much for listening. A big thank you to our sponsors, 606 Media, True Chicago Sports Fans, ACSI, and Grit Clothing Company. Don't forget to check out gritclothingco.com and get your official TCSF podcast t-shirt. Search for keyword True Chicago and use our promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off of your entire order. That's TrueFan15. Get your shirts now. And don't forget to visit our new friends at ACSI.tech and check out their career section to start a new, exciting career in the communications industry. Shout out to Mike Logic and Ideal. The new episode of the AllNet podcast is available every other Monday. Shout out to Ronesh and shout out to Panic for the beats we played on today's show. Check out paniconthebeat.com for all your Moleman merch and gear. Check us out on social media. You can find us at True Chi Fans on Twitter and on TikTok. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, and reach out to us on our email. We want to hear from you guys. Show recommendations, movies that aren't about serial killers, all of that good stuff. I mean, we'd love to hear it, please. Reach us at truechicagosportsfans@gmail.com. All right, y'all. For Big Z, this is E-Roc. We will see you next week for episode 46.
That's going to be a good one.
It should be.
Yeah, well, it's going to be.
Yeah. Until then, be good to each other.
For the love of sports.
Yeah.
E-Roc, we have the meats.
A few moments later.
You have a lot of incest.
That's real.
Shut your mouth. Lover boy.
Nature versus nurture, Lodge. Nature always wins.
I think he's on steroids.
Hasta luego, amigos. That's all. I shouldn't have had those artichoke poppers.